Alright, what's going, guys? So it's Thursday, and yesterday the market was actually quite bad. However, there are some stuff that we want to talk about, which would be Biden's press conference. I think that this one would be slightly more interesting because Biden actually had quite a prolonged Q&A as compared to all the other press conferences where Biden basically always finish his statements and then he just leaves afterwards. But this time, the entire press conference was about 2 hours or so. So I thought that was kind of cool. But anyway, let's cover some news today. So anyway, first of all, let's talk about Biden's the entire press conference. I actually did write some notes on the post-it notes instead. Basically, he talked about the entire. Okay, so someone actually asked him like, how does he feel about having empty shelves during his administration? And he basically said that shelves are back up to like 89%, where the supply side of things, where everything is up to 89% again, which is a few basis points below pre-pandemic, which was about 93% or so. And then yeah, of course, laughable, since we all know that supply chain issues are gonna be stacked all the way up to 2022 quarter four, or even 2023, all the way until maybe quarter three or even quarter four of 2023. So that's what we are basically afraid of. Secondly, he actually talked mostly about his Build Back Better. For people who do not know about his Build Back Better plan, basically is this entire infrastructure plan that he actually tend to come out for the entire country, and hopefully that can help to elevate the entire country. Basically, these are like sort of like the proposal all the presidents like to bring in every single time they actually come into office to show that all right, we did this, we did that kind of thing. Because of how the filibuster rule is still going to be staying, the Democrats did not manage to change any rules on the filibuster. So basically, what Biden would intend to do is to break up the Build Back Better plan into smaller legislation, such as your energy tax credits and your child tax credit, and also paying for the community college. But I think for the community college side of things, I think that's not going to really go past as well. But I do intend to see them actually trying to sign in for smaller legislation, and maybe that way we can actually pass some useful bills into the country. Okay, they talk about NATO negotiations with the entire Russian entering Ukraine. I'm pretty sure that we'll be covering some of the news later on Wall Street Journal or Bloomberg. And then they also talk about Chinese cutting rates due to the fact with the whole property crisis from Evergrande from last year, how China is actually cutting rates instead of raising rates like what they are doing in America, or what actually the entire world is doing, where everyone is trying to raise rates, which there will be an interesting article later talking about rate hikes as well. Okay, and then afterwards they also talk about how the black voters thinks that Biden bringing up this entire voting right move is mostly a PR move, which I don't know. Okay, I don't want to be political divisive here. Okay, Afghanistan came up as well, and of course, I think Biden basically did not really answer any question on the whole Afghanistan side of things, because basically what he said was more like answer it with a question. I think that it wasn't really very helpful, but whatever it is, he basically just said that do you all think that we can actually have peace in Afghanistan for so long, and blah blah blah? How much are we spending every single week? Few billions a week, that kind of thing. And lastly, most importantly, would be that Kamala Harris will be Biden's running mate for the next election run. So yeah, basically these are the updates that was actually spoken about in the press conference with Biden. All right, now without further ado, let's go into Wall Street Journal news. Okay, so I actually opened up a few, which is Nasdaq fall more than 1% during correction territory. Okay, so finally, mainstream media is actually finding out about mainstream media is finally getting into the correction territory. We talk about getting into a correction phase back in August of 2021. Back in November 2021, back in December 2021, and now we are finally in the correction phase, and you can tell. Okay, so basically, if you want to, you can basically go and see the S&P 500. You can look at Nasdaq. You can look at Dow Jones. You look at the top 100 companies, and you basically see about three to five companies at the top performing absolutely well. And then everyone below that is basically just doing, you're going to be down 20%, you're going to down 40%. If you're looking at S&P 500, some of them are even down 50 or even 60%, which is why it's quite crazy to see that, okay, the SPY did 29% for the entire of 2021. But the thing is that we only had 4 or 5 companies performing exponentially well. And then everything else below is just garbage. People are getting destroyed. You're going to be looking at companies such as Square, such as what's that? Kennywood stock, Teladoc. You're going to see Zoom. They're getting destroyed in 2021, basically down about 40 to 50%, even though they are in the SPY. So that's why it's actually quite crazy for us to really see this kind of thing. So over here, hold on, let me just. Okay, so basically they're just talking about how the SPY dropped a lot of points. 44 basis points. And Wednesday trading activity continued a tumultuous stretch for the major indexes, with stocks pairing their earlier gains and closing near session lows in the first week of January. I think that basically we're just seeing like pretty bad market in general for the entirety of yesterday. And I'm almost certain that we did see a lot of even worsening happening for the past 2 weeks or so, which is why I actually shared a meme about how we are always talking about a dip, buying the dip, the actual dip, the dip of the dippity dip, things like that. But yeah, I think I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to be happening to the market. Right now, pre-market just opened, and we got even more dips happening. But I think that the main market is still doing all right. Right now, I think the main market is the only one that is really up. Everything else is basically down. I'm very, very happy with this though. Ford Motors actually dropped us close to 8% yesterday. And right now in pre-market, they're down about another 2 more percent. And I'm super duper happy with this because I have a lot of puts on Ford Motors. So seeing this, I'm ecstatic just seeing this. I'm very, very happy to see that Ford Motors is going down because I was actually going against Ford Motors. Rivian as well. But I did cash out on Rivian yesterday at about $9 per put, which I bought in at about $1 or so. So that was about a good 800% return or so. Basically buying puts in this current market is kind of way to go. But of course, I do want to emphasize again, buying puts might seem like the right thing to do. Hold on. So buying puts might seem like the right thing to do, but you should also take into consideration that the entire market right now, we are very close to floor pricing. So if you actually look at whatever company it is, you want to look at your Palantir, you want to look at your Robinhood, you want to look at Snapchat, you want to look at Peloton, you want to look at the smaller caps of things. Everything is very, very near their floor pricing or even going lower than their floor pricing, creating new support lines every single day. Like for Robinhood, for example, we actually tested their floor pricing all the way from $16 all the way down to $13.83. So I wouldn't really be so euphoric over buying puts right now. More so that I already bought puts. So I'm basically seeing what am I going to be doing with those puts. If those puts actually turn out to be a lot better than I expected, then of course I'm going to cash out on those puts, cash in some of the profits, be it my 20% profit or 30% profits. Some of them I might just cash in quickly so that I can just get in as much money as I can. But yeah, don't be too crazy on puts for now, personally speaking. But of course, if you do intend to be bearish over the bearish on market, over the long term of things, then of course I guess playing puts will be all right. But I do understand that options trading very, very dangerous. You can lose a lot of money. I lost a lot of money myself on options trading. Of course, I also make a lot of money at the same time. But yeah, it's very important for you to really understand the basics of options trading if you don't want to get destroyed by the market, especially with theta decay and also volatility crush. I think this two is the most important things that basically destroy every option traders in this market, especially for the past few months or so, where basically everything just kind of like sideways trade that way. So yeah, okay. Anyway, Democrats failed in push to change a Senate and filibuster sinking election bills. So this was what I talked about as well, because with the filibuster rule not changing, basically now Democrats are unable to really go on with their election bills, which is one of Biden's Build Back Better plan. That would be something that's going to be very hard for them to actually pass. And for people who do not know what the filibuster rule is, technically it's just a sort of stalemate, because right now the House is the only one that is basically non-Democrats. The Senate and the president is currently Democrat, and then because of that, they need to keep the no hold on. The Senate is the one that is not the Democrat, and then the House and the president is the Democrat. So basically, because of that, the Senate have this filibuster rule. So if you get into a 50-50, basically you have to get into this filibuster, then you have to get 60% before you actually go past with any sort of bills. So how it goes is you kind of have the House go over to the Senate, you write the bills out over to the Senate bring it down to the president sign, and it gets into legislation, that sort of thing. But anyway, because of that, the filibuster is it's not going to be changed. The Democrats wanted to change the filibuster rule simply because if the filibuster is there, they cannot get their plans across, which is kind of sad, because a lot of people are saying that you are basically having a triple Democrat government body, but you still cannot pass your bills, which is quite sad. It means that even some Democrats are so adamant on going against this bill, such as your Joe Manchin and also Kyrsten Sinema. So yeah. Okay, Biden's first year, the goals he hit and the ones he missed. Yeah, I think this one is well. I don't know. Okay, I don't wanna impose any sort of my political views on this, but let's look at it. Okay, COVID-19. I'll take care of this. I'll end this. Biden said in the final presidential debate in 2020, which of course we are still all in a pandemic, so I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. And then afterwards, they say that okay, we're gonna do a 1.9 trillion relief bill passed early in Mr. Biden's term, provided money to help reopen schools. That's great. Okay, and then in the 4th of July, the declaration that Mr. Biden did was saying that closer than ever, declaring our independence from the deadly virus. Famous last words, okay? Famous last words, because this was before Delta came out. After he said that, Delta came out, and then after that, I'm pretty sure he did. He said something after Delta came out, and then Omicron came out. So basically, he's just eating his words at every single corner, and people just go, "Let's go, Brandon." Okay, supply chain. Okay, economy. We can build back better with an economy that rewards work, not wealth. Okay, something that actually happened in the Biden press conference that happened last night as well. Something that's very, very interesting, which is a reporter actually asked Biden, why is he trying to lean the entire government so far to the left on his first year? Which basically Biden was like saying, "Oh, I'm no Bernie Sanders, but like he's not trying to bring everything to the left," which I think is quite evident to like the way he actually talk about the economy, how he want to increase the tax laws, how he's basically anti-Trump as well, which I can totally understand because basically that was his competitor back in the election runs in 2020. But I don't know. I think that because of this entire thing, I feel that whatever the interviewer, the person who asked the question, was actually asking quite a legitimate question. I feel that Biden is siding too far to the left. I think that it's very hard for him to actually find a good common ground for him to actually stand before he can kind of set apart what are the things that is actually needed to be done. And of course, it doesn't really help with Kamala Harris also being a Democrat, which is also quite far to the left. But yeah, whatever the case is, economy produced 6.4 million jobs last year. Okay, this is also a little pet peeve of mine, which is Biden basically keeps using the POTUS account, the POTUS Instagram account, to talk about all the good things that he has done. But a lot of time, those good things that he has so-called done are basically the consequences of things that the past president have done. Not only just Trump, it could be Obama, it could be George Bush, whatever it is. But like, whatever it is, the things that he's usually bragging about usually comes from consequences from other bills, not from what he actually did. Because let's be honest, right now, I don't think he actually did something that we can actually see the consequences of as of immediate effect. But yeah, Biden also signed the $1 trillion infrastructure bill into law, addressing the aging roads and bridges. So this is the hard infrastructure bill that he's talking about here. And yeah, I think I really explained a lot about the infrastructure bill in the past, so I'm not going to be talking about them anymore. But yeah, I think the unclogged supply chain that's been backed by. Okay, Biden taken executive action to try to unclog supply chains. Let's be honest here. If he actually did something that is so good that, like, we can actually see the consequences of it, this shouldn't be happening. Supply chain disruption should not be happening. But it is happening. Even Biden came out to say that it's going to be happening. Jerome Powell said it's going to be happening. And yeah, everyone expects this to happen. So supply chain is still a very, very pressing issue, a persisting issue that Biden did not manage to solve. So I don't know. Foreign policy, okay. I don't really want to get into foreign policies simply because I don't think I am that deep into politics for me to really care about it as much. Climate change, okay. For this, honest to God, okay. I actually have a post-it note here saying that I need to research on climate control and what the feds can actually do, and see if I can make some sort of content around it. Which is this, and like verbatim, this is what I actually wrote here. So I need to do a proper research on climate control before I can actually post a video about it. Because right now I think that I'm still quite ignorant on climate control and what we can actually do with climate control, especially what the feds can do about the climate control. Because I think that a lot of the Democrats are actually pounding Jerome Powell on not actually putting enough effort to help with the climate control, which I totally see that as a point. Just because I think that I do not know enough information on how the feds can actually help, and because of that, I kind of stray away from the issues as much. But I think that I should probably dedicate a day or two for me to properly research on climate control, for me to actually make a proper video about it. So I'm gonna skip past this. Party priorities, same thing. Political side. Okay, so basically nothing much for me to talk about here. Okay, this is interesting, which is something that happened in the press conference as well, which is Biden talking about how Russia will move in on Ukraine. But at the same time, I think it's a little bit of fake news, because if you actually listen to the entire press conference, Biden actually stood on the fence about this. He was more on the line of like, I don't know what Putin want to do. Putin, if Putin go, then he goes. If you don't, then you don't. That kind of thing. So yeah, okay, so he said, yeah, Putin doesn't really want a full-blown war, but we're moving on Ukraine after amassing 100,000 troops on his border. Okay, so this was actually said, and after which he was basically just saying that, oh yeah, but I'm not sure what is he going to do. Yeah, okay, I'm not so sure he has or he's certain about what he's going to do. Yeah, so basically, it's just saying a lot of things that means nothing. Okay, so I'm not even gonna read this because it's gonna be boring. Okay, this is the final news. Okay, this is super duper important right here. Okay, I'm just gonna take this first. Okay, Feds will likely hike 8 times to curb inflation, Marathon Asset CEO says. Of course, we do not care who this the Marathon Asset CEO guy is, but the important thing is that 8 times to curb inflation. Okay, of course, I don't think he is talking about the whole 8 times in 2022. I don't think so. Is it? Oh, okay, it is. Wow. Okay, he do expect 8 rate hikes in 2022, which means every single time we have an FOMC meeting, we are going to have a rate hike, because there's only 8 meetings in 2022. Means every single time. Which I think the FOMC meeting is going to be. Let me just check FOMC calendar in 2022. I'm almost certain that we are going to be having it on the 25th of January, but I need to check. Yeah, okay, 25th of January. So I think the FOMC meeting will be out on the 27th. So on the 27th, we'll be properly having the entire debate on what was actually happening. Jerome Powell is going to come out to talk about it as well. Coincidentally, 27 is also going to be the earnings report for Apple. So I think that's going to be a very, very interesting week for me to really look at things, which is next week. That's great. Okay, but anyway, yeah, I think crazy for us to actually talk about this as well, because there was also another person who said that there is a chance that the Federal Reserve would actually skip from the whole 25 basis point, which is 0.25% rate hikes, over to 50 basis point rate hike, which is the 0.5% increase. So instead of us actually going through the entire 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, which means we are getting to 0.75% interest rates by 2022, there was the consensus, 3 times rate hikes. There's the possibility that we might actually jump to 0.5%, and we could actually just jump twice, which if we actually see it from the bigger picture, it will still easily be 4 rate hikes. But of course, people are now starting to really speculate that the Feds might actually increase the rate hikes a lot more aggressively, such as Marathon Asset CEO basically saying that, okay, we're expecting 8 rate hikes. I think that's on the bearish side of things. Of course, this helps with inflation. If we actually curb in the short pain, we can bear with this pain in the short term. For the entire 2022, we're going to cry and cry and cry. But in 2023, we're definitely going to see the economy start to become better. That's the good thing. However, I'm not sure if we can actually survive a year of beating for the entire economy, because the thing about the rate hikes is that they have to actually carefully balance it on either increasing rates enough for us to fight inflation, and if they actually do it too much, we'll get a recession, and we do not want recession to happen. So that's kind of the issue here. So yeah, I think that I'm not sure what the Feds are going to do. So I think for the first FOMC meeting of 2022, which will be on the 27th, I think that will be the most important one, where we actually see what's the direction that the entire Federal Reserve are actually going towards, especially when the minutes actually come out, which I would assume to be in the first or second week of February, where we actually see what actually happens in the January meeting itself. What I want to see is dot plots. Okay, dot plots is going to be very, very interesting for us to see. I want to see if they have any changes in the consensus for them, to see what will happen for rate hikes. Are they going to be increasing it over to 4 times or even 5 times, according to Morgan Stanley analysts? Or are they going to still stay with the consensus of just having 3 rate hikes at 25 basis point every single time? Also, and then the second thing that I do want to take a better look would be the economic projections. What are they actually projecting for the 2022 inflation projection? Because as of the last minute, they were actually projecting it to be 2.5% by the end of 2022, which I just feel is wildly impossible for us to actually get there unless we start to see deflation happening. Okay, we need to see deflation happening as of February and March. We need to start seeing like 0.1% deflation or 0.2% deflation, and we have to see like deflation for like 3 to 4 months straight before we have a little bit of inflation for like maybe 0.1%, 0.2%. That's when we start to see the entire stocks market start to rally up again. But yeah, basically this is also one of the reasons why I feel that Nancy Pelosi probably is very, very bullish on the market with all the call options that she actually bought, especially for Google, for Roblox, for Nvidia, for all those companies. I can see why she's actually bullish about it in her own perspective, because if the Federal Reserve have this economic projection thinking that we're going to be hitting 2.5% inflation by the end of 2022, then that means that possibly we are expecting short-term deflation to happen. And of course, deflation is not something that we exactly think is the best thing in the long run either. But in the short run, I think deflation is something that we definitely would be needing and something that we'll be looking forward to. But yeah, I'm not sure how the rate hikes will go about. I'm actually a little bit nervous about this, because if they actually do the rate hikes wrongly, like what I said before, we might actually be like a recession might actually be incoming if that actually happens. But yeah, anyway, I think that's about it. Let's just have one final look in Wall Street Journal to see if there's anything interesting. Okay, I talked about this already, where China cuts down their rates. Microsoft mega deal powers its Netflix of gaming aspiration. Don't really care. Oh, okay, free N95 masks to be made available at pharmacies. So apparently this one was I think Biden said that he's going to be giving out, I think, 400 million masks, or 400 million masks. It's written right here. I didn't know. Okay, yeah, 400 million N95 masks available for the entire country. And yeah, I think that's about it. Biden says Russia, like, okay, yeah, I basically covered everything today. I think there's nothing much else for me to actually look at today. But I will be recording another video right after this, which would be about the earnings seasons. It's going to be a short video. I'm probably going to get it uploaded by either tomorrow or something, just because we'll be having our earning. We're going through an earnings cycle right now, earnings seasons, and I think that it's very important for me to get this out of the way. By the way, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.